Monday. What's up, everybody? Monday morning. Welcome to today's edition of the Daily Market Commentary. I'm your host, Chuck Fulkerson. Hope you guys had a great weekend. We're able to relax, spend some time with the family. Remember, we trade in order to live the life we choose. We don't live life hoping to be able to trade, right? So hopefully you got some time away and we're able to relax. I know that I did. I am back in the saddle, ready to go for today's major markets. So if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button, the notification bell. If you're a regular returning viewer, hit that thumbs up icon. It means a lot. So let's go ahead and get going with the big picture. So in our big picture for today, one of the things that we want to take note of is the fact that our NASDAQ and S&P, both of them, on the daily time period are showing not only a slowing of momentum, but that we've broken a little bit of support. And that is something for us to care about. So let me pull up the NASDAQ first. Let's go ahead and switch over to that chart. So looking at the actual NASDAQ index, one of the things that I wanted to do is to show what it looks like on the daily chart. And on the daily chart of the NASDAQ, you can see that we were putting in lower swing highs as well as lower swing lows. Well, then we did come back and we put in potentially the same high, but we were unable to get above that high. And so the NASDAQ was unable to put in a new high off that daily chart. Now, if I were to throw very quickly our moving averages in here, and now this is off the 4-hour chart, and we can see here that these moving averages that I added, now this is the 4-hour chart, we can see that we've got these lower swing lows and lower swing highs like we talked about, but let's move this over to the daily chart. And when I look at this on the daily chart, we can see that we've crossed below the 20-period moving average. We've also crossed below the 50. And we just broke below that 50 with a fair amount of strength, enough so that the 50 actually became a little bit of a resistance point in the last few days. Now, I'm not saying that we make our decisions off the moving averages, but if enough traders and investors do, then that 50-period moving average continues to look as a ceiling, and price could fall from here. So I'm saying that I believe that there's a chance price continues to fall in the NASDAQ because we were unable to create that new high. Now, if I do the same thing in the S&P, you'll note that the S&P is still sitting above its support lines and was able to put in a new high. The 20 and the 50 are getting close to one another, but ultimately my momentum is definitely slowing down. We're seeing higher highs in price, lower highs in my momentum, and that is typically going to be something that shows that we could get a bit of a rollover. So how does that impact our day trading markets? Well, looking at our S&P, we had looked at about potentially a breakdown below the low of below the opening candle's low of last night, but knowing that it didn't exactly follow the rules. Right, so it was not exactly following the rules, and if you decided to take it, you were going a little bit against our gap and go rules, but it was really the only play that we had set up yesterday. And really, there's not a whole lot that's set up in the overnight as we just kind of chop sideways. Same thing in the NASDAQ. Now, the NASDAQ had a little bit of potential breakout above here, but we didn't get any quality basing, and so and then we wound up chopping sideways anyway. Now, the NASDAQ is coming to this level right here, where we have this rally base, very strong drop coming up into that region, and that's it should be a 15-minute level. It's in green, but it's really a 15-minute zone. And so coming up into this little level here, your first target is going to have to be right there, right? Why is that my first target? Because that's my opposing demand zone. Right, so I've got a very limited reward to risk on this one due to the basing in front of the level. The breakout gave us a little bit of a move. And so I would just say that today I'm not going to force anything. I'm not going to force any of these levels because there's nothing that I really love. Moving over to the crude oil markets. So as we have crude, we can see that crude oil is sitting just below our supply level. We came close to it Friday afternoon. We were basing here the other day, in the overnight, and now we're coming close to it again, but we came close and didn't hit it. So at this point, what I'm going to do with this one is switch it to a confirmation although I don't have a ton of confidence in that level. My next best level is going to be somewhere up in here. And if we continue to get basing in that region, that can then become a breakout point. So keep an eye on that as a potential breakout, because you do have price showing me that we could break out and make it up to this region. So while I still have a supply level here, I'm going to remove it altogether and just put our breakout level here, as that's putting in a bit of a base for price to go higher up to the 64. And then in gold, we're still kind of chopping sideways between our areas of demand and supply. A couple of 15-minute levels that we had looked at last night, but nothing that's over the top. And we were waiting to see what did the overnight give us from a Globex perspective. Now, we did get a pretty strong move down last night after a pretty strong move up early in the evening. And so now you've got that pivot that you may be able to utilize as a possibility here on the 15 minutes. So all in all, not a tremendous amount of opportunities today from our equity markets, but a few more in some of the commodities. But let's take a look and see if we're getting anything from our stock of the day. So our stock of the day today is going to be Lowe's Home Improvement. So Lowe's Home Improvement, taking a look at this one here, we are sitting right below an area that just looks to be a solid opportunity for an upside breakout. When I look at something like this, one of the things that I always pay attention to is what does our volume tell us? And we did get a bit of a volume spike on Friday into resistance. So a volume spike on Friday into resistance is actually going to be a good thing. And that volume that we had on Friday was over twice our normal volume at 8 million shares. Our average volume is at about 4 million. So when we take a look at volume in that way, that's usually a pretty strong sign. I've got one touch, just about two touches in here, almost three. Looks like today we're going to open up just a little bit lower. And when we open up, you could have an opportunity here for an upside breakout. Now, if you don't like the breakout trade and you want to wait for the pullback, if price continues to run higher, then this actually may make a decent little pullback area for Lowe's. So keep Lowe's on your radar screen and on your watch list as an opportunity going forward. Until tomorrow, everybody, I hope you guys have a great trading day. I will talk to you soon. See ya. Hey, thanks for joining us. If you like what we do, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. It's the only way the computers know that you're actually alive and really care. And go to tradersarmy.com today to learn a bit more. And if you want to see some of our other videos, click here in the box.